Hi, I'm Chris Cassidy, the owner of NuSun Realty. This is a NuSun network. We're here in Marbella with Gordie Dutfield, who is a fantastic investor, multiple business owner and author. So welcome, Gordie.
Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and just want to show my audience here. I mean, normally I'm in a studio and everything else, but this is a little bit off-piste for me, but I had to interview you. You're over here in Marbella for quite a short period in time from Dubai. But why don't we just let you tell the audience and everyone watching and listening on Spotify, etc., who you are and what it is you do.
Amazing. So my name's Gordie Dutfield. So I've been invested in property for the last 8-9 years, mostly in the United Kingdom, but I'm also a business owner. So originally, as you can tell from the accent, from Scotland. Moved out of the UK about 6-7 months ago now, so moved out to Dubai, but being ginger Scottish and Dubai in the summertime, I come back here to Marbella in the winter, in Marbella summertime, so Dubai's winter. But yeah, so it's been an incredible journey over the last 9 years.
So obviously you move around, but you're in the UK, you're in Scotland, where I'm from, you mentioned, and you're down south. Now Dubai seems to be your base, but potentially over here as well. Tell us a wee bit more.
I think one of the main things for me was I've done really good business in the United Kingdom and I've made a lot of money and I've got a really successful business in the UK, but for me I really wanted to 10x the wealth journey. So there's a couple factors in there. The UK just now in terms of taxation is extremely high. It's the highest it's been for many, many years. And I just started looking at everything around me and I was like, to get to the position that I actually want to get to, it's going to take me double the time if I stay here in the UK compared to if I moved out to Dubai. Not just that, but one of the key things to me is always being around people that are going to challenge me, businesses that are going to challenge me, and I kind of just lost that way in the United Kingdom. So moved out to Dubai. It's been there for the last 6 months, and it's a completely different journey. Now, the reason that I'm in Marbella, obviously, because it's too hot for me in Dubai just now. But for me, creating a business and having property is designing your kind of dream lifestyle. Where do you want to be? So I absolutely love it out here in Marbella. I lived here a few years ago for a year, and it just feels like home to me. You got the sun, you got the amazing restaurants, you've got great beaches, but another thing is the family are close. If you want to jump back to Glasgow, you're 2.5 hours in a flight and you're there. But if the family want to come out here, so for me, listen, I love the UK, my family's still in the UK, but it's just not somewhere that suits me at this point in time in my journey.
Yeah, and I understand. I mean, obviously I've got a lot of clients that are from the UK, from Ireland, but also people from Poland and Norway and the rest of the Scandi countries, and they're pretty much the similar boat. They love their country, but actually they love to get away from it.
100%.
And they like the fact of having a holiday home here. A lot of them are moving. We've had COVID. The technology just makes things so much easier to have your business, or even do if you've got a job, still to do that as well. So I do get a lot of inquiries, and I'm starting to see that ramping up. We're getting a lot more direct flights as well from a lot more countries, a lot of people from the States I spoke to you about. So I do think it's a good bit. It sounds like you're doing the right things as well, and Dubai and Marbella, and you're going to the right places, the right spots.
100%. Listen, I would actually live in Marbella full time if it wasn't for the Spanish tax system. So I would be here full time, there's no doubt about it. But obviously the tax here is not as favourable as it is in Dubai. So
definitely not. And the tax authorities here are really, really tight on things. And they will get you.
100%, 100%.
So just going into your business ventures and your, the success. So as a successful investor, can you share me the story behind your company? You've got a UK company right now, Redmayne Smith. Can you just tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so I started investing in property about nine years ago. Started off just simple buy-to-let in Scotland, Manchester, Birmingham, so a lot of the main locations in the UK now. What I tend to find is a lot of people that I was networking with and speaking to, they wanted to do property, but they didn't really know how to get involved in it or where to invest, best locations, best development. So we set up a company, myself and my business partners, called Redmayne Smith, which helps people in the UK overseas invest in profitable off-plan properties in the UK. So we've been running that business for, I think, 4 or 5 years now. It could be longer. And listen, it's had its ups and it's had its downs, as any business obviously does. But over the last few years, we've really found our place in the market, and we're seeing so many more people from overseas wanting to come work with us because of reputation. So I always say to people, I'm not actually a big fan of property, and I'm very clear in that. Property for me it gives me the income that allows me to do what I want, when I want, with who I want. That's all property is to me. But I do love finding good deals, and I do like working with people, just like you will, you know, supporting people, help build that property portfolio. And I think that's such a cool thing. When you find something that you love to do and support people with, that just makes the business grow in such a bigger way.
I completely agree, and that's part of the reason I moved here. You know, I had a few properties in the UK, serviced accommodation, and you know, doing some of those property strategies taught in training, but actually they worked out. So it allowed me the time to come over here, set up the real estate business, and not be too stressed out about making the money. You know, taking that time, because you need a good year. Here, you know, you'll hear about a lot of property companies setting up in Dubai, and people thinking it's easy. They watch these selling sunset programs.
I still watch them. I love them.
I love them as well. And I wish it was like that. I wish I was going to all these galas and everything, but you've actually got to do some work in between. But ultimately, this has given me the time to set up the property side of it, the investment side of it, and getting that cash flow. It just took the pressure away from me.
100%.
So I was able to set the brand up. And I think what you're saying is really important, you know, and for anyone else, I think it's a massive thing as well. So definitely, if you're looking to get UK properties, speak to Gordie.
More than happy to.
But if you're looking for Spanish properties, obviously speak to me. So talking about your ventures then, so real estate has been a big part of it, but I think you do coaching as well and mentoring and...
Yeah, I do a bit of coaching and training as well. So I partner very closely with an education company called Touchstone Education. So they've been around for 10 plus years. My business partners, Paul and Annika Smith, they're both the owners of those companies. So I still do training and education, a lot of speaking with them. I think one of the key things for me is I enjoy the speaking most out of anything that we do. You know, so we run events, I get to speak in front of hundreds of people, and I love that part of it because you're inspiring people and showing people that there's a different way to life than just doing the 9 to 5, and the possibilities of getting involved in property with money or without money, there's opportunities there for everybody. So I really enjoy that part of the business. So for me, you've got Redmayne Smith, which is the investments, helping people invest their money, and then you've got Touchstone Education, which is the training and education side and supporting people that really want to do it themselves, because generally if someone's going to invest in off plan, they generally don't want to do all the hard work and the refurbs and everything like that. They'd just rather give money and go and invest it. And the other side, a lot of people actually want to go and do the property side of it. So that's how we support them on that side.
Awesome. What would you say, so as an investor, what would you say has been your most valuable lesson to date?
It's a good question.
Even as a business owner?
Most valuable lesson is probably the failures that I had at the start of everything. When I first started investing in property, I didn't have a lot of cash. So what I started doing was invested in 60, 70 grand houses. So in Dumbarton, which you may know.
I know,
and Rotherham, which is just outside of Doncaster, because that's where I based myself. Because that's what I wanted to get into, was just your lower demographic houses. The trouble with that is getting in lower demographic areas brings lower demographic tenants, which I hate to say it, but the fact of the matter is sometimes that creates more problems, because you look at the cost of living, I mean, that's going through the roof just now. The first thing that people stop paying is the rent, because they know they can. So my investment strategy kind of changed to mid to high demographic property. So anything that I've got just now is top end properties in city centres where your rents are fairly high, and locations and schools. So listen, I learned the hard way. I lost money in property before, and I think that's a good thing though, because you've got to learn from your mistakes and keep going. So I think for me, investing in property is getting the right location, it's going to get the right tenants, it's going to get the good cash flow and the right capital growth.
How do you approach risk management? So obviously there's different tactics, different strategies out there, but how do you personally approach it?
So specifically what I focus on in the off-plan sector is making sure that you're working with credible developers, and it'll be the same with you out here. You know, there's loads of great developers, there's loads of really bad developers at the same time. So for me, anything that I anything that I get my clients to invest in, I personally invest in myself. So we're always looking at what the track record of the developer is. How many units have they built before? What's their accounts like? Are they fully funding the development? Are they getting bank finance? Are they using the client's money to finance it?
Yep.
If they're using the client's money to finance it, we never work with them. Simple as that. So it's just really looking at the quality. Now, for me, it's then also looking at the numbers. You know, do the numbers work in areas? Because some developers might hype up the price and say it's going to be worth X amount, but you really know it's only going to be worth here. They might say the rent's going to be double what it is. So you've really got to sit down and focus the numbers to make the numbers work on it. But I think key thing for me is making sure that it's going to get delivered. It's going to get delivered on time, and the end result is going to be good. And from that, it's just working with previous experience. For me, I think I work with 2 to 3 developers in the UK just now, and that's really it. If you look at the competitors, they're probably looking with 20, 30 different developers, but I like just to keep it small.
Yeah, so just going back to being a coach and being a mentor.
Yeah.
I mean, what gives you that drive, I mean, to sort of help people succeed? And obviously you're a busy guy. It's just how do you get the time to do that, and what gives you that motivation?
So for me, I think everybody in life should have a mentor. And if in life you need mentors at different points, you know. So if you've got confidence issues, you need a confidence coach. You know, if you're looking to make money and get involved in property, you need a property coach. For me, I've always had mentors around me. The reason I do it is because I love to do it, number one. Number two, it connects me with a lot of people. I'm a big believer, your network is your net worth. So the more people I can get in front of, speak to, the more business that we can do together. So for me, I just enjoy that side of it. I enjoy just speaking to people and show people there's a different way. On the time aspect of it, I mean, I work 4 hours a week in the business now, so the business is fairly functional and the team are up and running, they're doing everything. I want to be involved in it more. I would love to be involved in it, but the team say there's no point in having all the staff there if I'm going to be running it all by myself. So the team are fairly self-sufficient, and it just allows me time to speak to people, do the coaching, do interviews with you like this. But I think coaching and mentoring, you've got to pick the right coach and mentor, because there's so many people out there in the industries that are coaches and mentors, and you've just got to find the person that suits you.
I agree. We spoke about there just how busy you are, and actually you're finding that time. You've got your business, by the sounds of it, systemised and automated and everything else. But just in terms of the work-life balance, then, is that really what it's about? How you find that?
Oh, it's a good question. I don't believe in work-life balance. Don't think there's such a thing. I think it goes one way or the other way. You know, for the last 2 weeks, I've been extremely quiet. You know, I've had family over, I've not been doing much, but then it can come into a 2-week period when I've got events. I think work-life balance, you've got to find out what you enjoy. And there's no 50-50. It doesn't work like that. So for anyone out there that's thinking they're going to have this work-life balance thing, it doesn't happen. It's not going to happen. Some days you're going to be extremely busy. Other times you might be a little bit quieter. But it's making sure that you enjoy what you're doing every single day. Because I love doing what I do every single day. I've got a passion for it. I've got a buzz for it. So for me, I'm constantly working, but I'm constantly living my life at the same time. You know, and I think if you're looking for work-life balance, you've got work and life as 2 separate things in your head. You know, I think it should be a combined thing. You should be waking up every single morning looking forward to the work or the life that you're living. It shouldn't be 50% of work, 50% of life. I don't have kids and everything, so I appreciate a lot of people want to focus on that side of things. But for me, I think you should have this combination of work is life, you know, or life is work at the same time. And whatever you're doing, you've got a passion for.
I think it's a good point. I mean, unless you've got a job, right, and you're in a job, you're only just getting the bill, paying the bills, then you might well have that work-life thing. If, you know, you work X hours, then you'll just have your life. And that's it. But I think when it's a business, it's a passion, it becomes merged, and as you say, there's peaks and troughs, you know. And I think if you just manage that and understand that a little bit, that there will be peaks and troughs. You know, I think that helps you. I think it helps your mind and everything else. But sometimes unexpected things can happen in business, you know.
Of course.
And you just need to roll with it, right? If you love what you're doing, it shouldn't be an issue.
No, I definitely think that. You're right in what you're saying. If you work in 9 to 5, I get it. You know, you've got your work life and you've got your balance. But I think in business, and especially at the early stages, if you go into starting a business up and thinking that you're going to have a work-life balance in business at the start, you're going to fail. You've got a work balance and that's it. You know, when you're setting a business up at the start, I mean, it's taken me 8-9 years to get to the position that I don't need to be in the business. I can actually work on the business. But for the first 7 years, you know, it was a work balance, but then obviously you get rewarded later on down the life, and which is a good thing.
And how do you find the support around you for this?
It's so important. So listen, I've been through more ups and downs that I care to imagine for, but I've got 3 incredible business partners that we've all got different strengths. We're all different ages, we're all from different backgrounds, and we all support each other in an incredible way. So they've got the strengths that I won't have. You know, I've got one of my business partners an accountant, for example. I've got another business partner who's like really good at systems and all that kind of stuff. I've got no interest in that. So for me, I would not be in the position that I'm currently in if I didn't have the business partners that I've got. I mean, they support me through bad times, they're there for the good times, obviously. And I think your support network's everything. I've got no doubt in my mind if I was here 7 years on and the business hadn't been where I really wanted it to be, that I'd probably be looking to give up. But you've got the support network around you that's going to keep pushing you and pushing you and pushing you. It's a football team or whatever, you've got to have those solid players around you.
And what about from a personal sort of perspective in terms of family and friends and I feel personally, right, that you've got to, there's always people that might not understand the route that you've taken in life, right? 100%. It's different, and to them it just doesn't make any sense, you know. And some of them might try and pull you back down, and it's just about that type. What about that side of things for you? How's that been?
I'm super grateful. Like, my family and friends are so supportive. But I don't tell them everything. They get told what they need to know. So family, friends, my sister works for me, for example, you know, which is amazing. You know, it's an amazing thing to be able to employ your family. So they know I'm doing well, you know, they know that I'm making good money, but I keep it that side off it, but they've never been the people to pull me back or anything like that. And I'm clear, if any of my friends' family did go into the position when they try to pull me back, they'd be pushed away. It's simple as that. I never understand when people have friends or family that want to drag them back the way, because everyone's got one life to lead the life that they want to live and how they want to live it. And if someone's going to stop you from doing that, they need to be removed. It doesn't matter if it's your mum, dad, sister. I'm very strict on that. If someone's going to stop you from living the life that you want to do, they need to be moved out of the picture. But no, I'm very grateful I'm in a position that I've got great support around me.
Yeah, so I mean, something I noticed as well, it's in so, you know, mainly social media, you see it, you know, someone saying, I've got a new job, and you know, there's about 1 million likes, everyone's loving it, well done, congratulations, and then someone puts a post on saying, I've set a new business up.
Nothing.
Flat, nothing, maybe 1 like or something, and it's, you know, normally, I don't know if it's because everyone's like, you know, worrying about things, or like, oh, here we go again, somebody's setting a business up, and probably not going to last, and all this stuff, but did you sort of get into that stuff at all?
I didn't tell anyone, family, friends, nobody, that I started getting involved in property. I went and got involved in it, cracked on, did well from it, and then I started telling people, because I didn't want the pressure off it, number one. I didn't want loads of questions, because when you go and set up a new business, you never know how it's going to go. Like, you've got the best intention, no one goes in with the business to fail. But guess what? It's probably going to happen at some point in life. It just is what it is. So I kept everything in-house. I mean, the trouble with the UK, which I find different than Dubai or wherever else I've actually been, people don't want to see you succeed in the UK. They've got that mentality. The minute I was in Dubai, it was, how can we work together? It's even coming out here, you straight away. How can we work together? What connections have we got? And everyone wants to see you go do well, support, and they want a piece of your business, and they want to give you a piece of their business. In the UK, it's like, don't want to tell anybody anything. This is all my business, and it's just such a different mentality the UK's got versus anywhere else that I've lived. So, I mean, my advice to anyone is just get your head down, go and make some money. Don't put extra pressure on yourself if you don't need to. Yeah,
that's a good point. And that sort of leads on to, you know, obviously you're in different countries. You mentioned Marbella, Dubai, but how have you seen, maybe not here because you're still, but for Dubai and places like that, how does that help shape your personal your personal growth?
That's a good question. One of the things that I always want to do is I want to be the worst person in the room, you know, so I want to be socializing with people that are 10x my wealth, you know, and it's just a different conversation, a different mindset of thinking, because when you're, I mean, if you're spending your time with 5 skint miserable people, the chances are you're going to be a 6 skint miserable person. If you're spending yourself with 5 super wealthy people, the chances are you're going to be the 6th super wealthy person. So for me, when I got to Dubai, it was just about making connections, and the level of conversations, the level of thinking that these people have, it's just nothing I've ever experienced before, and the possibilities that you're thinking, you know, so they're not talking about doing 1 or 2 deals. They're talking about doing blocks of apartments in my industry, you know, and it's just a different way of thinking. But everyone's got the possibility to do it, but it's unlocking the blockages in here, and that's what it's really doing for me.
Yeah, I must admit, I noticed it myself. I mean, obviously hanging about with skint people, as you mentioned, but even going into certain property groups and stuff in Glasgow, you know, and it's people are there, they're thinking about their next one property, and they seem to get that quite a lot with some of the groups. But since I've came over here and meeting different people, developers, people like yourself, and I'm meeting 2 days ago a guy who's from Qatar, and he's asking me to find land for hotels, you know, and it's stuff like that, and it's just, it blows your mind a little bit, and there's so much opportunity when you start to move to places where there is wealth. I think, as you say, you know, you do mix with the right people.
100%. And the truth of the matter is, one property deal in places is incredible and is never going to make you wealthy. You know, in properties, it's an incredible asset. You know, depending on where you invest, it's going to go up in value. It's going to give you monthly rental income. But the average rental in the UK is going to make you 500 quid. You know, you need a lot of those 500 quids to get to a wealthy position, whatever you want. You know, so you need to be thinking, how am I doing the next 10, the next 15, the next 20? So if you're speaking to people about doing the next one deal, you're going to do the next one deal. If you're speaking to people about how we're going to do the next 10, 15, 20, you're going to start opening your brains up to the different possibilities.
So obviously you've got a lot going on, you've got a lot of, you've progressed a lot over 7 years, businesses and everything else, but what does your future look like for you, you know, personally and professionally?
Cool. So, I mean, for me, so I'm only, because of Brexit, I'm only allowed in the UK, in Europe for 90 days. So kind of this summer was a little test to see what I thought of Marbella. And I loved it. So goal for me now is to get a citizenship or a residency in Europe. So I'm in touch with the company just now, get a citizenship, which allows me to then stay in Europe for 6 months. So ideally, personally, for next year, I'd rather be doing 6 months in Dubai, and then 6 months here in Marbella, and I can go back and forth to the UK as I please. So that's personally what I'm working on just now. Business-wise, we've just set up an office up in Monaco, and we've literally just last week signed the contract to set a business up in Dubai as well. So we're setting up these 2 locations, and then we're just going to see where it goes from there. We've got all plans of having, I mean, there's so many different countries we can go into with our market. So it's just world domination, I think, year on in.
It sounds like that in Monaco as well, bloody hell, that's a prime location also.
Yeah, it is a good one. So my 2 business partners actually live in Monaco. So we've signed a contract and agreement with a couple out there to lead on the Monaco branch, which is extremely exciting. So so there's loads going on. We're not be selling Monaco properties or Dubai properties. Everything will just be based in UK, but there's so much scope for international investors in the UK. Yeah,
it sounds like it. And just going back, obviously, you know, you're from the west of Scotland. So am I. I know where you're from. I know Helensburgh. And everything else. So we've both got the sort of similar roots in terms of location. But how do you think that's worked towards getting to to where you are? Maybe helping you or hindering you in some way? I don't know.
I think the hindrance is no one understands what I'm saying. I think that's generally the hindrance.
Listen, I'm going to have subtitles on this, it's mainly for me, right? Because I get exactly the same thing.
So it's funny because when I'm presenting, I've always slowed everything down.
You need to.
Yeah, I have to. So that's the only hindrance. I think the benefit of being Scottish is grit and determination. We've got that little bit between our teeth. If we want to go for something, we're going to go and do it, you know. And I think where we're both from, you know, you've got that to have that grit and determination in life, and it doesn't really matter where you come from. But I think the Scottish people have just got that passion, you know, and bucket loads to go and be successful. So I think because we've got that in us, it just helps us drive a lot more.
And I think as well, the weather, right, it just rains all the time. So in order trying to get away, get to Spain, get to Dubai, get to Monaco, it just makes it so much better for us.
100%. I think when you look at the Scottish summer, the Scottish winter, you look at Scottish weather or UK weather, you know, it's just, I mean, we're sitting just now and it's palm trees and the sun is shining. It's what you wake up to, it's what you go to sleep in. I'm happy in the sun. Now, obviously I'm saying this as a white ginger Scottishman, so I do have to avoid it, but it does make you just, for me, it makes me more productive. Yeah. You know, because I want to get work done or whatever, and then get out. And number two, it just makes you happier. You know, after this, I'll be going down the beach, go for a walk along there, go for a swim, and you're kind of restricted with the weather in the United Kingdom.
I think so. And what I love as well, just being here, is you don't have to really plan. You know, you can plan ahead here, right? You can plan to meet up with friends and have a barbecue in
100%.
2 weeks' time, or whatever, go to the beach. In Scotland, it's weather dependent on the day. You know, the sun's going to be out tomorrow, everyone's going into buy their barbecue stuff and everything else, and they've also got to have the gazebo, right, because it normally will rain.
100%.
And I think that the thing about here is you can make forward plans. You don't need to worry about the weather. Dubai, probably more so than here, but I think it's a really good place to be. Yeah, you've moved. You know, you've moved to Dubai. You're potentially going to be moving here as well, and you're working through that as part of your future plan. But what advice would you give to anyone, maybe in the UK or anywhere else, thinking about moving but just not quite doing it yet?
Do it. Come and speak to people that have been here. You know, come and see how everybody's happy. When I came out here, I'm socialising. It's a community. You know, everyone wants to support and help you. And you speak to people that have been here for 10, 15, 20 years. Not one person have you met and says, I'm going back to the UK. No. You know, not one person. When you come out to Marbella, it's a different sort of lifestyle in terms of living, but it's healthy. You know, we're just discussing there, you barbecue every single night, you get the fresh fish down at the market. There's so much to do for children, for adults. It's something for every single person here. So for anyone that's thinking, you know what, I don't think this UK's lifestyle is really for me anymore, come out here and just do it. You know, I can promise anyone looking to move out here, you won't regret it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree, and that's what I always say to my clients as well, who are maybe thinking about it or kicking the tires. So just do it, just come over. Yeah, I'll show you around the properties, and you get that feeling about the place, you know, and you know, I think it makes a massive difference.
But you know the great thing is as well, see if you don't like it, you can just move back.
Exactly. You know, and even just in terms of that, you know, people who are buying off plan here, the off plan's just crazy, right? Because land's at a premium, and it's been like that since COVID. You know, people have started to realise they want to be somewhere in the sun. So, you know, and it's not a million miles away from the UK, or being here or from Ireland or anywhere else. So it is quite easy. But because of that, you know, the developments, you've probably seen it, there's cranes everywhere. There's just so much going on here, which is 100%. Great for me, right? But eventually that land's going to come to, there's not going to be much more land left. You know, they're going to have to build a lot further out. So I do notice that I've seen the prices rising on average about 20% a year if you buy an off plan, if you get in there early. So even if you were to buy that, you've got the option to sell it, right, when it's done. You're not stuck with it forever and make a good bit of profit in the meantime.
100%. I think at this point in time, it's the peak point, because there is so much beautiful developments going on around. Like, if you want to be close to the sea, you know, you need to kind of be looking to get over here soon, because they are building more into the land just now, but there is still, across the coast, just some incredible development still going up.
So how do you stay ahead of the trends? You know, obviously things are changing all the time, so how do you stay ahead of the trends in the real estate world?
Research. You know, I'm constantly listening to the professionals in the industry. I'm not the kind of person that's going to get the newspapers and all the reports and do it myself, but I just keep in touch. My business partner, Paul Smith, you know, he is heading it all the time. I'm not the most guy that's like that, so I just listen to the industry experts, not just here for the UK market, the Dubai market, the Marbella market. I'm looking at what's going on worldwide, because depending on what's happening in the world is going to depend on what property prices, etc. are. So for me, it's just listening to the industry experts and seeing what they've got to say about it.
That's really good advice. Well, listen, we've covered everything. Hopefully, our audience will really enjoy this podcast. I'm sure they will. I've learned a lot from it, and it's been a pleasure having you on. So
perfect. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Appreciate it.